Bit 16, you've never seen a review like this. Weird old games you cannot tame, these things you don't miss. SNES Man is the champion, he is 16-bit. SNES Man is the champion, he is 16-bit.
Hello to all my viewers, my name's SNES Man. Today we're going to talk about a game called Aladdin for the Super Nintendo, another Disney-based game. As anyone with a real childhood should know, Aladdin was a Disney masterpiece. The problem is, most movies couldn't make a very fluid transition into video games. Even Disney-based games were hit and miss. Luckily, none of them were major flops. In fact, some of them were pretty enjoyable. A great example is Aladdin for the Super Nintendo. Not a great game, but one of my favorite licensed Disney games. And since some other reviewers didn't quite do this game justice, I'd like some new judgment. Come on, let's play it! Aladdin, it's the best! Here's our title screen. Nice to see a password option for once. Now let's get down to gaming. Welcome to Agrabah, crappiest city in the world. I'm serious, it's even more violent than in the movie. Aladdin has to race around and dodge everyone who's out to kill him, including guards, snakes, creepy bystanders, and chickens in overturned pots. I'm guessing drugs were a factor? Anyway, the first level turns out to be pretty fun in a simple way. Soon you'll find an interesting power-up, a carpet. Not a magic one, just one that lets you float down slower, kind of like the cape in Mario. Just hold R and your bacon will be saved. Another interesting point of the level is the magical scarab that you can find in a chest. Don't pick this up unless you want to go through the agony of Genie's break time, a cheap minigame that takes forever to decide what measly upgrade you get. Yes, boring. Now let's get back to the level. In this game, you're armed with apples. Yes, your main weapon is apples. That's kind of frustrating, I know, and all they do is stun your enemy. Now don't get angry that it just stuns them and doesn't kill them. Think about it, how could an apple kill someone? Maybe explosive apples? You don't want to mess with Aladdin and his explosive fruit. Yeah, if you don't like fruit, you might want to play the Genesis one where you get a sword. But let's move back to the Super Nintendo game. Here's our first boss. This guy might look intimidating with his sword while you got stupid apples, but there's actually an easy secret to beating him. Wait till he slashes, then jump on his head when he's open. After this, he will try to attack you, but you can just cancel that out with an apple. Really easy. Yes, quickly, just like Mario, you'll squish him like a Goomba. And now our street rat runs off and finds the street mouse that he did this all to save. How heartwarming! Okay, but after this first level, how is the game? Well, it stays pretty similar. It's a very predictable game, and that's not really a bad thing. You'd expect a Disney game to not stray too far from the source material. The locations are pretty familiar, you know. Cave of Wonders, the Sultan's Palace, and... What? This was never in the movie. It's a land of genies everywhere. The platforms are genie hands. There's genies in the background. Everything is genie. Now that is nuts. And also, could you even imagine the genie from the movie putting Aladdin through so much peril and danger? So much for friend like me.
Never had a friend, never had a friend, you ain't never had a friend like me.
Can we move away from the genie level right now? Aside from the genie level, there's not many weird levels. In fact, there's not many levels, period. It's a really short and easy game. One of the reasons this game isn't as hard as other Disney games is because the controls are decent. They might be a little clunky and awkward, but they're smoothed over by being able to use the floating carpet and the edge-grabbing technique. Thus, the only real problems you'll meet will be in the instant death scenarios. These are rare, though. One of the only big examples I can think of is the escape from the Cave of Wonders. There's lava everywhere, and most notorious, the death-defying carpet ride through the lava cave. This part is pretty frustrating. If you touch the lava or any scenery, you die instantly. But really, people make a big fuss about nothing on this level. It might be frustrating, but there are much harder games even now, like Donkey Kong Country Returns. So yes, this level's frustrating, but only by Aladdin standards, which are really easy. Most of the levels in this game are ridiculously easy. I know it's supposed to be a kid's game, but it crosses the line. A pretty good gamer could even charge their way through this game in an hour or two, no sweat. And in case you thought that was too hard for you, there's even a password mode. Yes, this short of a game has a password. I don't know how you could lose. Oh, but I'm sure the final boss will give you a run for your money. There's a real challenge. No. For a giant snake, Jafar is the most pathetic boss ever. It's all in all just a really easy game. Now let's talk about some other factors about it. Like the graphics, how good are they? Well, even for their time, they weren't that amazing, but you do have some good moments, like this good background of Agrabah, and the character animations are always very fluid and nice. But the characters are not very detailed. Aladdin doesn't have much of a face, and he's a small sprite, and the backgrounds are sometimes uninspired. The cheesiest part of the graphics, though, of course, is the cutscenes. All they are small framed images on the screen with boring text that scrolls by. Trust me, it's not worth your time. Oh no, they're gonna make us sit through this whole part where Aladdin gets the lamp. What fun. I do love how that monkey thing says infidels, just like in the movie, though.
No!
Infidels! You have made a boring cutscene! Now, never again will you see the light of day!
That'll teach 'em! As much as I love discussing infidels, let's move on to the next topic. The sound. First of all, the music is pretty good. Especially the songs they used that were taken from the movie. Now the sound effects, that's a different matter. For instance, listen to this hideously cheesy noise when you jump on people. You know what that sounds like? That sounds like an old groaning troll. Every time you jump on an enemy. What a glorious sound effect.
Things to make it better.
First and most important, more challenge. The game is way too easy. Second, more levels. It's just too short of a game for much replay value. Third, more detailed graphics and cutscenes. Fourth, fix some of the minor control issues. And finally, a harder end boss that makes a more satisfying ending. So now I'm going to give you my judgment on this movie-based game. Okay, here's my excellent grading system. Out of 10, I like to say that 1 is hideous, 10 is amazing, and 5 is average. How does Aladdin stack up? A 6 out of 10, above average. Now, Aladdin fans, before you flame me, just take this into consideration. This game's not perfect, but it's above average. It's a pretty good game, but it's not amazing. So I gave it a 6, which would be harsh by most people, but for SNES Man, it's pretty fair. Aladdin might not be stellar, and it certainly has plenty of flaws, but it's pretty good. Now, some people tell me the Genesis version of this game is better. I can't confirm that because I haven't played it. But I have to say, on the Super Nintendo, if you're looking for Disney games, this is one of the better ones. I'd say try it out. Thank you for watching. This has been SNES Man. I'll talk to you again sometime soon.